Hi, my friends. Welcome to Inside the Minds of Authors. I'm DC Gomez, your host, and also an indie author. I'm thrilled you're joining me today for another fun interview with a passionate author. We're going to kick off this show with an exciting reading, so let's get started.
Hi there, I'm Amanda Johnson, and I am the author of the women's fiction novel East of Manhattan. And I'm going to start off by reading a passage. This is the end of chapter 2. Slowly, I become aware of the morning. My body is awake, but my eyes are still closed. There's an incessant pounding in my head. It takes me a minute to realize it's just a garbage truck outside making its rounds. The mattress feels unfamiliar under my skin, cool and smooth, not the coarse cotton I'm used to. Where am I? Oh, right, Scott's room at the house. But this feels different than his bedroom sheets. Softer, silkier. I run my hand over the sheet to make sure. Yep, this is different. What the? I jolt straight up. Scott! He mumbles groggily. I take in the total disaster around me. 600 count Egyptian cotton sheets strewn all over the bed and oozing onto the floor. An empty Grey Goose bottle tipped on its side on the floor. Sticky lime wedges on the dresser. Rocks glasses with condensation rings stuck to the nightstand. My bra hangs on a $10 million Basquiat painting. Scott, I shake him. We're in Jake's room. I hear a jingle somewhere deep in the house, but it doesn't register fully with me. Hello? A distant voice calls in Spanish. Scott? Scott, someone's calling you. No, he grunts. Holiday. Housekeeper? Gave weekends off. That's a relief, I think. The last thing we need is to be caught post-coital in Jake Collins' bed. Scott would be fired instantly. Not to mention, it would be humiliating. Scott, comes the heavily accented voice again, closer this time, like at the base of the stairs. Shit, Mercedes. He hops out of bed. That got him up. Where the fuck are we? Jake's bedroom. What the? We have to go, now. I look down, naked, not wearing a single thing. Usually, I'd find this sexy, as would Scott. Not today. Today I'm frozen in place. I literally cannot move no matter how fast my mind is racing. Shaking cobwebs out of my brain, I reach for my bra. At least I'll be covered when we're ousted. The sheets, Scott whispers to me in a panic, looking at the sex-strewn luxury cotton twisted around the king-size bed. Simultaneously, we start to strip the mattress. Just a second, Mercedes. I'm working on the hot tub. He has a good excuse for why he's in Jake's bedroom. Scott is forever adjusting the bromine levels or whatever. I yank the flat sheet onto the floor, which is no easy feat since it's large and slippery. Seriously, these are the best sheets ever. But that doesn't help me right now. My hands are sweaty and I have a hard time getting a good grip. Hurry! Scott pulls one of the corners and tries to toss it toward me, but it flops back to him. In a panic, I jump on the bed and romp my way over to him as if I'd have better luck. I haven't managed to put my bra on yet, so my breasts bounce back and forth as I crawl across the massive expanse of the bed. I got it. You get the pillows, I instruct. Scott grabs the custom king-size pillows and tries to shake them loose, but the goose down feathers they're stuffed with cause the pillow to make a sickening thud instead of the case gliding right off. This is a bitch. How does Mercedes do this every day? Scott wonders. You call me? Mercedes' voice closer still. She's a mere step outside the door. At least we had the decency to close the door last night. What should we do? I whispered as Mercedes' footsteps inch closer. Closet, Scott orders, and points toward the ghost door on the other side of the room. I'm working on the hot tub. The levels were all off, he shouts again. He huffs and puffs as he pulls on his jeans commando. I scramble off to the closet, picking up whatever female clothing I find along the way. Take this! Scott rolls the Grey Goose bottle toward me and then shoves the rocks glasses under the bed. And keep quiet, he mouths. As if I'd say anything. I'm dying inside. Literally dying. I can see it now. Scott gets called down to Jake's office. Jake wouldn't be there. Nope. He'd have his assistant do the dirty work. Look down her nose at him as she does. I understand you had some fun while Jake was out of town, she would say, then dramatically pause. You had one task. One. It's very simple. Take care of the house. While your wife is welcome here any time, you step over the line when you went into Jake's bedroom. It's a total dishonor of your duties. Completely irresponsible. Lunacy. You're a sham of a house manager. Effective immediately, you are no longer employed by Jake Collins. Mortification floods my body as I sit quietly in the serenely illuminated closet, lit by the most delicate motion-activated nightlights. In the soft blue glow, I can make out typed labels on each shelf. Prada, Burberry, Tom Ford. Above each label is an immaculately shined pair of shoes. It's a beautiful thing to behold. I've seen women's closets look like this on television, but never in real life. I pinch myself to see if it's real. I'm envious of a man's shoe closet. A knock on the bedroom door. Scott? Just a minute, he shouts. I can tell he's panicking hardcore, but hopefully this is something only someone who knows him as well as I do can decipher. I hear the swoosh of the door brush against the hardwood floor as it's pushed open. This is it. I close my eyes tight, hoping doing so will calm my racing heart. If there were any vodka left in the bottle, I'd swig it now. Mercedes is in the room.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Minds of Authors. We have the talented Miss Amanda with us today. Hi, Madame. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you.
It is an honor and so much fun. I am excited to have you here. I got tons of questions about this reading, so we're going to jump in.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about this book. What did we just walk into?
Yeah, I know. Just kind of threw you in the middle there, didn't I? So East of Manhattan tells the story of Julie. She is a 35-year-old woman living in New York, and she wants to have a family more than anything. But her husband works as a butler for a wealthy celebrity in Manhattan. And part of this work arrangement is he has to live in his house, in the basement of his house, instead of with her, which is, kind of hard because she's trying to start this family. So it's about navigating these daily struggles of having your spouse who doesn't live at home and how to, move through life within that unique situation.
What genre are we putting them in? Because I'm like, ooh, I feel bad for this person.
Yeah. So I categorize it as women's fiction. Sometimes it gets put in the romance category, but it's not a straight romance by any means. I know it's kind of looked down on, but like it could be chick lit. It's like it's a quick read. It's great for the beach. It came out June 1st. So it was perfect summer novel. I really wanted it to come out in the summertime. I say it's women's fiction.
There is nothing wrong with chick lit. Let's be honest. There's something fun and exciting about a book that just makes you go, ah, that is really fun. So I love it. How did you come up with this story?
Yes. So the story is loosely based on real life events. So my husband actually had a very similar job when we lived in New York, and he wasn't considered a butler. He was a house manager. He oversaw the staff and he took care of everything that went wrong in the house, like the hot tub bromine levels being off, which was something that happened quite a bit. So while he had this job, we kept running into these weird, unique, only in New York situations. And I kept a journal. During that time I was keeping the journal, I thought maybe I'll turn this into a book one day because I thought it would be a really good story. One day that became a reality and I had to, write the book, and it came out the way it did. And while it's loosely based on real life events, the characters and the plot and everything are totally fiction.
I'm glad how you were able to take some things that some people would have been, this is a tragedy, and turn it into something fun and exciting. Because this story is kind of quirky because I'm going, where are you? Why are you questioning where you're at? What just happened? How long did it take you to put it together?
So I journaled for about the whole time he worked there, which is about 2.5 years. And then a lot of life things happened. I had a baby. We moved across country. We went backpacking in Southeast Asia. So I put it down for fits and like I would start writing, then put it down for 7 months while we planned our trip. Then I really got serious about it. And I'd say it took me about 2 years of active writing, like a full year and a half of querying agents and writing out those materials and trying to find a publisher. I went with a small press, probably about 6 years total from the beginning of taking those journals till it being published in June.
That's a lot of experience, a lot of anecdotes, and a lot of information to create this really rich story, which is really fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you consider making this a series or just a standalone?
I always saw it more as a standalone, but I got a lot of reviews saying that it screams for a sequel, which is not something I had ever considered, but now that's possibly something I might do in the future. But, I finished this book and I was like, wow, writing a book was a lot of work. And I just didn't want to jump into writing a novel right away,
Which part of it took you by surprise?
Well, I think the path to publication was probably the hardest part for me. Writing it was pretty fluid and fun. And yeah, I got stuck sometimes and I needed some inspiration other times, but then pushing it towards getting published, that whole process was very long and laborious and took a lot of work, and there's a lot of rejection in it, and you just have to be resilient and keep pushing through. And that was a surprise to me.
A lot of readers take for granted that part of the process and how long it takes you to bring it to fruition. You can definitely always be independently published, but if you go in very traditional, even for a small press, it's going to take some work. What
Mhm.
were some of the challenges you faced?
I sent out, I can't even remember how many query letters, but dozens of query letters and never heard back I got a few bites and a few requests for the full manuscript, which was great. So I would send that out. And then eventually I got a no, or there's even one agent I haven't heard back from yet. So, maybe she'll come back and be like, hey, I like this story. I'll be like, too late, it's out. So that was a challenge. Then once I signed with a small press, that was surprisingly not as smooth as I thought it would be, just because the way I wanted it formatted, their formatting program didn't accept some of the changes I wanted. So they talk a lot in the book through text message. So part of it, because Julie and Scott don't live together, that they started communicating by text message. And the way I had it written out in the book, like the ebook formatting program that my small press used, like it didn't format the way I thought it should look. So we ended up having to strip out all the formatting and go with very simple, basically a Word document, which I thought wouldn't come across well, but it turned out fine. But that was a challenge and a big learning and a big thing back and forth. And the other thing I thought was challenging was learning how to market a book. Even if you're with a big publisher, you have to do a certain amount of marketing and publicity on your own. But especially with a small press, everything was on me. So not only was I learning the publishing world for the first time, I was learning how to market a novel for the first time. And that was super challenging.
One of the things you talked about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't actually think of the fact that whether you're going small or independent or a regular traditional, that you do a lot of your own marketing.
Yeah, a lot.
How was that for you in terms of this is your first book? You're excited, you have done all this work, and now you got to market. What were some of the things to learn about it?
I had to learn about social media. I looked into hiring a publicity firm, but I just couldn't do it where we were at. The spend was too high for me in particular. So I felt like, okay, what options are there for lower threshold? And I learned about book and blog tours, and I learned about Bookstagram on Instagram. It's this wonderful community, this very passionate community about books. And so I started interacting there and trying to build up my own presence. I tried to develop a social media calendar. I wasn't very good at it, to be honest. There's just so many things to stay on top of. I really tried. Right now, TikTok is huge, and I see a lot of authors doing really cool things, putting themselves on video. And I'm like, I can't even, I have no brain space for this. I had to stick with, here's a picture. It's marginally attractive looking picture, and I'll put that out there. So I had to learn about that. And I really felt my book would do well on summer reading lists and best beach books type lists. I had to research who would in those big publications, where I think my book would fit, and try to find out who the people were who wrote those stories and target them and send them emails. So this was part of a larger marketing plan I had put together, which is who my target audience is and who are the influencers, who are the people out there. There's also a fitness element in my book. So I thought, thinking outside of the box, maybe I could approach fitness influencers and see if they might be interested in reading my book, promoting it that way organically, which It's had a little bit of success, actually better than trying to get into larger publications on my own with no big publicity engine behind me. So yeah, there was just a lot of learning. And I put together a press release and sent it out to like local press and not international, but I live in Seattle now. So I sent it out to local press with like the local author angle. And then I sent it out to New York press because that's where I lived when the book was written. And I have, the book set there. So I thought that might be an angle as well. I had more luck with local press sheerly because I think, I don't know, maybe the local author did well. The local author angle was a better one for me. But in New York, because my book exclusively on Amazon right now, that exclusivity period ends in September. So then it'll go wide. But I found because the local smaller bookshops couldn't get my book from like their traditional distribution places, that they weren't really interested in either highlighting my book or having an event with me there, that kind of thing. So it was just kind of figuring out where I fit in, what I had the capacity to do, and, just kind of accept that and go with it.
You have done amazing because a lot of people don't do as much research to communicate their book. So I think overall you have an incredible grasp on marketing.
Okay.
You have a plan because most people don't have a plan. Like we just kind of wing it and hope everything falls into place. So you have looked into this. And I love the fact that you took into consideration who is your target audience? Where can you find them and how do you communicate with them? Which is really, really fun. I love the beach angle. I never considered that to be such a huge part. And somebody's like, you'd be surprised how people purchase books specifically for this time frame. I'm like, who would have known?
Yeah.
I love it. So as you're looking at this immense project that you took on that you probably didn't realize how big was going to be.
A lot of lost sleep there. I'm going to tell you that.
It is a whole different world altogether that most people don't see it. What advice would you give an up and coming author?
I want to be mindful about this because there's so much advice out there and so much good advice, especially on your podcast. I've listened to past episodes and every author has such good advice. And I don't want to risk overlapping of what you can find. But I think what I would say is to be intentional. If you dream or desire to write a book, then be intentional about it because you'll be surprised how the world starts opening up and allowing you those pieces to start falling into place. For example, like once I decided, okay, yeah, I kept this journal. I want to turn it into a book, but I don't know when I would write. I was a new mom and I had just started a new job and I'd moved across the country. But when I set that intention to really commit to doing it, I found little pockets of time to write. I would finish the novel, writing it by hand, the first draft on my bus commute into work. So I think if you just are intentional about wanting what you want to do and what your goals are, then the universe will open up and allow that to happen.
I am such a true believer in that, and what you put into the universe is going to come back. If you have a dream, an idea, you're going to get the resources to do it. You just have to believe it and carry it through. So for everybody listening, that is such a beautiful advice. So are you working on anything else now?
Yeah. So I am an actor. I've been an actor for about 20 years. So my next piece I've been working on is not a novel, but it's a screenplay, which feels more in my wheelhouse given my background. And I'm working overall, I have this idea for a television series about a female craft brewer facing sexism in the industry and struggling with like her self-worth and self-acceptance in her business and family life. And I'm currently working towards shooting a short proof of concept script. The intention is to attract investors to help me make the larger television series.
Ooh, I like this.
I know. It's a big goal.
Needs to be if it's going to be amazing and come together. So there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely. Yeah. I do love the premise.
Thank you.
Once again, you put your intentions out there, you let in the universe come together, and you're opening it up yourself to have all this happening. So this is amazing and fun. So tell us, madam, where can our listeners find the book? Where can they find you when they can learn more about it?
Yeah, right now it's on Amazon. It's called East of Manhattan. And that's exclusively on Amazon and through the end of August. Starting in September, it'll likely be available more widely. I'm just not quite sure yet where all those awesome places will be. But if you want to find out more about me, my website is amanda-johnson.com. I am on Instagram at AmandaJ1. And I'm at Twitter, although I'm really terrible at Twitter, at _Amanda Johnson.
You are doing better than I am at Twitter because I'm not at all. You were talking earlier about all the different channels and all the different fun things that are out there. I'm very ADD for some things, so sometimes it's easy to get lost in all the amazing shiny objects. I think I stick to one or two because I know I can do those well. Everything else is like too much. This is too much. So I can relate.
Like I said, like there's like TikTok's a new thing, and like I see writers doing amazing things. And I was like, I can't even with my brain space right now the way it is.
I admire them, and I know there's an amazing community in all these platforms. I'm just like, time is of the essence. So I'd rather do a couple of things well than try to spread myself super thin. So trust me, I can relate.
And that's why I focused more on Instagram as my number one social media platform, because I just had to choose one and go with it. Because if I tried to spread myself too thin, it would have been, more lost sleep than I already had. We don't want that.
And you have a baby. Come on, let's be honest. Eventually, you still have to sleep and eat. These things are important.
Well, he's almost 5 now. So that goes to show how long it's taken me to write the book, right? So I started when he was a baby.
You make it sound like he's so much better now. Like, yes, he does. It's like he's still 5. That's still young.
Well, he still needs a lot of attention.
Yes.
That's true.
That has not changed. So, madam, before you leave us, are you ready for a lightning round?
Ooh, yeah. Let me take a sip of water.
Easy peasy. Don't think too hard on it. Let's see how you do.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes, let's go.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Nice. Gummies or Sour Patch?
Gummies.
Camping out or a hotel night?
Hotel night.
Me too. Don't worry about it. Candlelight dinner or breakfast in bed?
I think a candlelight dinner. That sounds lovely.
Nice. Okay, let's see. It's a little different. Let's see how you do here. If you could be any villain in any Disney film, who would you be?
Ooh, this is fun because part of my background is I used to be a character at Disney World.
That's exciting.
Yes. Let's see. Who would I be? I've always loved Maleficent. She was my favorite villain.
She is usually one of our favorite ones. Most of our writers always want to be her, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I almost said the evil queen from Snow White, but she's just, a little too jealous and envious and vain, and I don't really want to be like that.
She does have awesome outfits. I have to give you that one.
She does, and she's super fun. I'm sure it would be really fun to play her, but I just don't think I want to be her.
I second that notion. But it's such a pleasure. Congratulations on the release. I'm excited you did this. This book suckers you in before you know, you're like, ooh, what just happened?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Do you have any closing comments for us?
I just want to say thank you for bringing me on this podcast and happy writing. And I hope that you're out there and you're creative and you're being inspired.
Absolutely. To our listeners, that's an awesome advice. Go forth, do amazing things, madam. A pleasure. Guys, go ahead, pick up the book. Enjoy it for a nice little fall time frame. I know it's not summer, but fall is also a beautiful time to read. Make sure you give our podcast a like. Make sure you share with somebody. Tell them we're always better when we're growing together. If you enjoy the community, go ahead, join a Patreon tribe. Make sure you help us continue these amazing things at patreon.com/author DC Gomez. And I'll see you guys all again next week for another exciting author. Bye.